Okay, so this is just to help you when you're measuring for a jacket, since there's been a little bit of confusion. Of course, our model is a perfect figure, so we'll go to some other variations of that at the end. But for now, for the bust measurement, have your person get in a riding position so that because you're always kind of, put your arms in a riding position, yeah, because you're always kind of a little bit more pumped up when you're riding. You want to go across the widest part here. If it's a larger bust, I also need to know the apex of the breast, which would be center from the shoulder seam and center from the side seam. Then the next thing is the waist, and the waist is really confusing to a lot of people. Turn straight. I want you to tell me what the smallest part of your waist is. That's really annoying, isn't it? Then we'll go down. So if you're really, really tiny in the waist, but you're well endowed beneath that, tell me where this is, and then tell me how far down it is. So the small of her waist is actually up here, which is fairly high, but just put your hands on your waist just like this. Okay, and then I'm going to measure from the base of the neck, which is where the collar would meet the back, to that smallest part. That's a really important measurement. So when I say how far down is the smallest part of the waist, in this case it would be 15 inches because it's where the narrowest. So if we're measuring for a tailcoat, this is the back measurement for the bodice that I need. For a tailcoat then, we would go from that spot, bend your knee slightly, to the bend at the back of the knee. In this case it would be 24.5 inches. So that's how we get that measurement. For the back length of a short coat, again, at the base of the neck. For dressage, normally we go to about here, not quite to the base of the rear end because you don't want to be sitting on it, but about here. So this was a 26 inch, and to the small of the waist is a 15 inch. Okay, so then back to the first three main measurements. Put your arms down. For the hip, you want to go to the widest part to measure. Again, if you're very, very shapely, I also could use the measurement in between the small of your waist and the hip, so this would be halfway between the two. For the front length measurement on a short coat, usually like to go to just below where the pants begin, over the chest. So in this case it would be around 20 inches. Average usually is around 22 inches. Again, she's just really short-waisted. For the arm measurement, want to have your arms straight at a 45-degree angle. Go from where the shoulder seam would be to about halfway down the hand. In her case, it's 24.5 inches. Average is around 23 to 24. Then for the back width measurement, put your arms in a riding position. Put your shoulders back, in a strong position. And it's from shoulder seam to shoulder seam. In her case, it's pretty narrow. It's a 15 inch. If you have a jacket, though, that fits well, and even if you feel comfortable with that measurement, it really does help me to compare on a jacket. Lay it flat and measure shoulder seam to shoulder seam. In this case, it's a 17 inch. And a lot of riders, especially as we get older, tend to be broader across the shoulder. So that's a really important seam. Again, if you carry a lot of weight in the front, it's also important to know what your back measurement is at the waist here. And then the same thing at the front. So that's in another case. The other measurement that I like to know is how big the arm is, like make a fist, flex. So at the bicep muscle, if you can tell me how much that is, and if you have a really narrow wrist like this, it helps me to know too, so that I can taper the sleeve so it's not super baggy. The armhole measurement is around, now move your arm around, make sure that's plenty of room. Okay, and this is also really important in a vest measurement. In the vest measurement, you want to bring it a little bit higher up. The opening is going to need to be a little bit larger because it's going to end further over than a standard shoulder seam. So I hope that helps with some of the basic measurements on a typical rider body. And other than that, call me. I can answer any questions. And thank you much.